Alright, listen. This bird is a dick. But honestly, I think it's a little overrated. Yeah, this thing has kind of been a problem in the meta and Pokemon Champions since it's been unveiled, but there's only really a few things you need to do to stop this bird, and you can stop it pretty easily. Is Staraptor still annoying? Yes, it is. Would I like to send my cat after it if I could, if it was a real life bird? Yes, I would. Let's be honest, he's too lazy to do that anyways. Now, we actually have seen this before. Back when Pokemon Black and White came out, eventually Superior got Contrary, which is the same ability that everyone is having a fit with Mega Staraptor right now. But Superior was a little bit more limited. It wasn't as strong offensively, and it was a lot less bulky than Staraptor is and can be with getting close combat, but it was beatable. Its moveset was limited. Now, Staraptor is different because its move that gets boosted by Contrary is Close Combat, but you have to remember, Ghost type exists for a reason. It blocks all fighting, and it will not let you get a Close Combat off, which means Staraptor will not be able to get its defensive boost. And that's the key here. You have to have some sort of Ghost type Pokemon on your team of 6. You might not have to use them often, you might not have to use them at all, especially when they're not running Staraptor. But I think right now, while this thing is in the meta and it's being used heavily, I think you need to have a Ghost type on you. And I'm going to recommend a few different options for you to help you out. Sableye is going to be my physically defensive bulky Pokemon. With Prankster, you can get off that burn quick. So that way, if Staraptor is going to go for a Brave Bird or something like that, as long as you hit the Will-O-Wisp, it's not going to be able to do too much damage to you with Brave Bird. And then again with Prankster, you're always just going to be one step ahead with this thing. You can have Knockoff for its one attacking move just to get rid of items on other Pokemon. That's probably what I would recommend. Otherwise, you could do Foul Play if you wanted. It's just kind of a mixed bag if you're going to burn it, and it's not going to be super high in attack. You know, damage is going to be so-so. But Knockoff or Foul Play, I went with Knockoff here. I just think it's going to be a little bit more useful for other Pokemon I might be facing. Again, Will-O-Wisp is a must. I think Recover is also a must. And then for your last move, it's kind of dealer's choice. I mean, it's whatever you want to go with. I decided to go with Taunt here. You could also go for Light Screen or Reflect. I mean, there's a bunch of different options. There's many other moves that you can run Sableye effectively with. But Sableye is not only going to be useful for Staraptor, just with all the people trying to get stuff set up with screens and hazards and everything like that in Pokemon Champions, especially in singles so far. Sableye's going to be really useful for that with Taunt and then being able to burn and put up its own screens and just keep outliving these things. Again, for its stats, I went for especially defensive boosting type and just lowering special attack. And then I maxed out on special defense and HP because once again, you have Will-O-Wisp, so that way you can take care of the defensive side by burning physical moves. This one's going to be a little different, but let's start off with Cofagrigus here. This Pokemon you might not see too much in Champions, but I think it is a perfect counter to Mega Staraptor. It's bulky enough on both sides, so whether they're running physically offensive or mixed offensive Staraptor, it's going to be okay. It has Will-O-Wisp to help burn. And the biggest thing that I think is going to really help you out here is going to be its ability. So, Mommy is very simple. It does nothing in terms of being an actual ability, but what it does do is that if any physical attack goes on to Cofagrigus, that Pokemon is going to lose their ability, and it's going to get the Mummy ability, which again is the same thing. Not going to do anything, it's just a contagious ability that does nothing. That's great for Mega Staraptor, because that's going to take out its massive ability of being able to boost up with close combat. So even if this thing dies, you're still going to be okay, because it lost its ability, and it's no longer going to be able to boost up. And it's going to be a lot more manageable. It's not going to be super bulky after like 4 close combats. Cofagrigus is going to be like a decent stall Pokemon otherwise. I probably wouldn't use it too much outside of just purely countering for Mega Staraptor, but I think it's going to be pretty decent. I just went with a Sleep Talk version here because this thing can't really recover without rest, and you need it to be able to recover if it's going to be a stall or bulky Pokemon. So you're obviously going to have Rest and Sleep Talk take up 2 moves there. For the other one, Will-O-Wisp, and then after that, Hex. Hex is going to do double damage if it's burned. Staraptor is a Pokemon that you're going to want to burn. And then for its stats, I think you got to max out special defense since you have Will-O-Wisp, and then max out HP, and that's pretty simple. So I think this is a pretty good option for you if you're really struggling with Mega Staraptor. Now I'm going to go over two Pokemon that are not necessarily as bulky, but as long as you can predict the close combat hitting, then you should be okay to switch into one of these two. Because again, they're also ghost types, and it's not going to do anything. So we're going to start off with Dragapult here. Haven't used this thing much. I used it a little bit in Showdown, but kind of just haven't really used it too much because I like the Choice Specs variant of it, and there's no Choice Specs in Champions right now. But I still think it's useful, especially for Mega Staraptor now, because the good thing is that you're going to outspeed the next turn, because this thing is so freaking fast. So all you have to do is predict the close combat, live, and then return the favor with the Draco Meteor. And majority of the time, depending as to how much HP Staraptor has, you're going to be able to knock it out. Moveset, pretty simple here. Again, with Choice Specs not being a thing in Pokemon Champions, I am opting to go for White Herb and then these four moves. So Draco Meteor, Fire Blast, U-Turn, and Shadow Ball. I think that's a pretty standard set. I just going with Timid because, I mean, who really cares about the damage from U-Turn? It's just to be able to switch out, and if you're expecting your opponent to switch out, so that way you get the later switch, and it just helps you like that. Like I do with Rotom Wash all the time. Rotom Wash is so useful in Champions with being able to switch out after the opponent switches out because they don't want to stay on that Pokemon, so that way you can just keep being one step ahead. And then for the stats, 252 in speed, 252 in special attack, and you're going to be fine. Choice Scarf Basculegion is going to be another one that I'm going to recommend as well. Same thing, it has Flip Turn, which is pretty much the same thing as U-Turn, just Water type now. Aqua Jet, for whatever reason, even though it has Choice Scarf, it doesn't outspeed something, it's still getting some damage on. Wave Crash, and then Last Respects. With Adaptability, those two moves do a lot of damage. And it's going to be the same thing, it's going to outspeed Staraptor. So as long as you predict the close combat, then you can switch into this thing and then apply major damage onto the dang bird after. And then you're going to max out speed and attack, and it's pretty simple. You're going to be able to do a lot of damage back on Staraptor, and even if it's a predictable switch out, you got Flip Turn there as well. Hopefully this helps you out though. I really think that as long as you have a ghost Pokemon on your team of 6, and as long as you bring something like one of these guys, if it's not one of these, then you're going to be just fine, and you're going to be able to counter this thing pretty well. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, if you want to see more Pokemon Champions content, to make sure to subscribe as well. And maybe next time, we'll talk about if Mega Blaziken is going to ruin us all.